Man, me and Braden just rambled forever.
What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. My name is Braden Carlson.
My name is Taylor.
And my name is Shane, or as you might know me, Postart.
And yes, you did just hear Taylor talk about how we rambled. That is the repercussions of a live podcast.
I didn't know we already started.
Yeah, it was connecting, but it got it just in time for that. It is what it is.
I could have said so many worse things.
Definitely. So I'm glad that you didn't. So welcome to another bonus episode of the Anti-Gravity Group podcast. We are talking about onboard video today. Something that, based on the stuff you see on my YouTube channel, you would think I have a lot less experience with than I actually do. But I have flown a lot of cameras on the sides of rockets and just not had any footage come from it, which is always a glorious feeling. But so we're doing this one live. We have a live chat. We're not really going to be steering into it a ton till we get further down the road here. But I know Postart is pretty involved with cameras, so he's going to have some good opinions. And Taylor, have you ever flown a camera on a rocket before?
Only with you.
Yeah, I was going to say only the ones that I've put a camera on. Got it. Okay, well, we get asked this quite a bit.
I put my camera on the Arcus, and it did not work.
Yeah, I blame your camera wholeheartedly for that. It's your camera's fault.
It was the SD card's fault. Actually, it was Matt's fault for corrupting it. So,
ooh,
oh,
damn, he's not even here to defend
co-driver.
himself.
Yeah,
the e-golf rider himself.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I get asked a lot what we do for onboard video, why there is no onboard video, which we'll talk about here a little bit.
Not for a
I want to come out swinging by saying both the Punisher flights and the Arcus flight all had cameras on them. Every single one of them.
We have a dozen holes to prove it.
Yeah. And in the case of the Arcus, footage of it being stood up on the pad. I think the Punisher as well. The Punisher, round 1 overheated the camera. Round 2 overheated a different camera. And the Arcus, I was like, okay, I'm not going to start the camera until we're leaving and the rocket's about to fly so that it doesn't have time to overheat. And lo and behold, I pressed the record button and it gave me the beep of, hey, this SD card is corrupted, which is a big problem when you have to take the rocket apart to get the camera back off. So that's not what we did, as a matter of fact. But yeah, so I guess, Postart, you've flown a couple onboard flights, right?
Yeah, the only cameras I've flown were the keychain cameras, and they were for my first 2 high power flights ever. They both worked.
What were you going to say, Taylor?
I just remembered I have flown a camera. When I was a kid, I had an Astrocam 110.
Oh, dude, I had one of those too.
The 90s one with the cloud wrap on it.
Yeah, and you flip the giant lid down over the film.
Yeah, you got to pull the string when you put the nose cone on.
Yeah, both times I tried to fly that, they were like, there was nothing recoverable on the film. Like, awesome.
I think I always accidentally opened it and exposed the film.
Yeah, that'll do it. But yeah, so to Postart's point, about the cheapest way you can get away with doing onboard video at this point is, like he said, the old 808 keychain camera. These have been around forever, dude. Like, my dad's level 1 had one on the side, and that would have been like 2010, 2009, and people had already been flying them at that point. What was great was the standard def ones, which were like fine back then, were like $8. The problem was they were all coming from China. You buy them on eBay, so like it would legitimately take like 3 months to get them once you bought them. This one in particular, I believe, is a 1080p one. It might be a 720p one. I can't remember, but these things on eBay, generally, I believe they're about $30 to $40. and then they just take a micro SD card. For some reason, they're still using mini USB, which is truly disappointing. But they could have changed it to USB-C by now, actually. I'm not entirely sure. But there's footage of your level 1, isn't there, Shane?
Yeah, there is. I have it somewhere.
Did I put it in my video?
Maybe. I don't know. There's also the footage of the H550 that I flew an hour after my L1.
The one that took 3 tries to light?
Yep.
They always say, dude, the blue propellant's the hardest to light. Am I right?
Yep.
You never did the keychain cam thing, huh, Taylor?
Nope. There was like in the just before the keychain cam era, I was like obsessed with it. I think because like I watched, Gates Brothers videos and stuff, and there just wasn't a lot of onboard video for me to consume. And so I really wanted to get a booster vision set up.
Yeah. Dude, you remember people used to lug the TVs
out with my dad, where I was like, "Hey, if I save up this much, can will you help me like buy it, like cover the rest of it or whatever?" And I just could never pull it together. Anytime I had the money, I spent it on other rocket stuff. So
that's fair, because what you would have got was not phenomenal.
And then, in more recent times, anytime I've thought about it, I'm like, well, I mean, I've seen the only rockets where I really thought, yes, this would be cool is like the big ones, like the Punisher flight or whatever. So, maybe an air start flight or something. Like I almost put one on the Sumo, but then decided not to last minute. So I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, the booster vision quality, quite frankly, has aged like milk.
Yeah, I know. Also, it's so bad. I'm like, I thought this was amazing.
Welcome all of our live viewers who are just now joining us, because once again, Riverside has switched the way that things work. And while it used to boot force people and live stream when I didn't want it to, now they've added a bunch of hoops that make it more difficult. So hello, everybody. You've only missed 7 minutes of discussion, but we're going to backtrack here for just a second. The cheapest option, the first thing we're discussing for onboard video right now, is the 808 keychain camera. And that's what if you type that in, 808 keychain cameras or 808 keychain on eBay, you'll find these little guys. You can see there's Velcro on here. My dad and I actually developed a little top secret method where we would like zip tie tape to it. I don't even remember exactly how we did it, but we would like zip tie the rocket or zip tie it to a piece of tape to itself or something like that, and then tape it to rockets. We flew them pretty fast, but yeah, I mean, if you're worried about putting too much money on the side of a rocket, this is kind of the route to go. Like I said a little bit ago, but you guys weren't here for it. They used to be like $8 to $10, and you just had to wait months to get them from China. The price has gone up since they started producing them in high definition formats, but the shipping time has also come down. So it's a little bit of a net positive there. But yeah, so looks like they are around $35 to $40. Cool. So super cool little camera. I'm trying to think of any onboard footage I have from one that I can point people to, but I actually don't have any idea of any that I've used in video. So we're going to skip to the next thing. And this is what I always recommend for people. Although if you're flying a small rocket, you're going to have a bit of an issue with it. But Taylor, I know you love these as much as I do. It is the GoPro Hero Session. I was really happy to see that they somewhat brought this form factor back with the Hero 11 Black Mini, but apparently that thing is even worse about overheating than the Hero 11 Black is, which is phenomenal news if you want to record footage for 12 seconds on the side of a rocket. And these things are no strangers to overheating either, unfortunately, but my fascination with these goes back to good old Bonnieville Salt Flats LDRS 39. My brother 3D printed me a little shroud to put this on the side of my Iris. I was flying on the N2220, and the quality is just so good for what they are. I don't know if it's still available right now, but somebody just listed one of these on eBay for $50, and like, it does not get better than that. It was either 50 or 55. And Postart, I believe you were planning on launching camera shrouds for these, right? On HBR tools?
Yeah, eventually. Those and the Mobius cameras as well.
All right, fine. Why don't you just spoil it? God, unbelievable. But yeah, so the Hero 4 session, that's the one that I have. It's just called the Hero session, but it became known as the Hero 4 session because they then put out Hero 5 session, which is what Taylor has. And I believe the benefit was that you can shoot 4K 60 on the Hero 5 session. I can't remember.
That sounds right.
And I think 1080 120. So if you want some footage that you can slow down, look really cool, there is that. But if you are curious about what just the cheap Hero 4 session looks like, I'll put a link in the description to the video where I flew my Iris on the N2220. And especially with it in that shroud, the wind noise was super minimal. So you got really high quality footage and that like patented flat Iris fin whistle right at the top before it tipped over. It's just, that footage makes me so happy. And this is also the footage for my Honest John, which if you watch that video back, I conveniently cut it at 1 minute, not because YouTube shorts are limited to 1 minute, but I didn't want people to notice that it hit the firmament. And unfortunately, I accidentally left the sound of it hitting the firmament in there. It was not the ejection charge firing. It was the firmament. And that video was a government cover-up. I accidentally slipped up and posted the whole video as well, but what can you do? And then most recently, this tragedy, this overheated on the side of the Punisher, but more devastating, didn't overheat and recorded really great footage of my Honest John hitting 2 trucks at a Lucerne launch that I've never published anywhere and don't plan to. So, sorry everybody. But the Hero Session 4, phenomenal onboard camera. Okay. Does anybody want to jump in with stuff that they've seen that they maybe want to consider flying on a rocket for video? This is really going to be more of a Postart discussion because I don't know how in the know Taylor is in the camera world.
I'm not.
I mean, there's not really anything else aside from the things we haven't talked about yet that people are putting on the outsides of rockets. I know, especially back in the day, there were people doing stuff like huge, handy cams and stuff like that inside of the...
Dude, full-blown DVR stuff.
Yeah. But not that I've seen, at least, no one's doing that with any current cameras.
That's actually really convenient timing and a good segue there, Postart, because I have Vern's website open here. If you're not
Perfect.
watching this and you're just listening to the podcast, it's G10 sheets with an entire it's a Sanyo HD1 Exacti. It's a little pocket camcorder, but the whole thing is in the Rocket. Starfire had kind of a bonus electronics bay like the Punisher has, and Vern just filled that thing up. I think there was 3 cameras on any given flight, and one of them, it was really cool actually. It was set to, as soon as the charge fired, just start taking pictures until it fills the SD card. So he has a whole bunch of stills on the way down, which is really sick. But yeah. Okay. So you can go that route if you still want. I love the Gates Brothers videos where you can see that the rocket hit so hard it made the film skip for a second. But yeah, it's we've watched a few of those. If you use the Wayback Machine just right, you can still go download some of the clips from the Gates Brothers website. And also recently I found out you can still download videos from the Animal Motorworks website. I found a video of a skid mark demo motor in 2000 that they had on their website that I downloaded the other day. Super cool. Okay. So I want to touch on the run cam too for a second. It was very, very popular. It is now discontinued. I was pretty excited when I saw the footage from one, and I was like, you know what? We'll get one of these. We'll try it out. And that's actually what was on the 12-inch Punisher's first flight. And it did the GoPro thing where it overheated and shut off. And they also had a lot of issues with the battery not staying in place. Like you had to wrap tape around the battery and like wedge it in the camera so it wouldn't shift a quarter of an inch and turn the camera off, which is also apparently a common issue with them. And for how much they were, that is devastating to deal with. And I say all of this because of the same form factor, almost measurement for measurement, is available in the Mobius Maxi 4K. And this is the one that's going to be on board my my N1000 flight at Balls. Again, if you're not watching this, I'll try and describe it. It's basically a rectangle that's about 5/8 of an inch tall, and it's got a big lens sticking out the side, but it shoots 4K. I believe we looked at it, Postart. Was it up to 120 in 4K?
No, it's 4K 60 and 1080 120 if I remember correct.
So, I mean, it's not too bad though. And it actually has a really nice interface when you plug it into the computer. They have software dedicated specifically to this. They also have a mini version called the Mobius Mini that shoots in 1080 that is honestly probably about half this size. And this is already quite small, but the Mobius Mini would be phenomenal for the side of smaller rockets. Because like putting something like this on like a 38 millimeter rocket or even like a 2-inch rocket is kind of chaotic. It's a big boy. But it is awesome. It's super intuitive to use, and my favorite thing about it thus far is that I put it in my my tube fin tester rocket. If you watched that video, you'll know I forgot the SD card on the actual launch day, which was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that. But I tested it the day before by putting the whole electronics bay together, putting the camera in it, starting recording, and putting it in the sun on my back porch where it was 106 degrees. Did I tell you about this, Taylor?
No.
It recorded for 90 minutes, and the only reason it stopped is because the battery died. It was so hot that you almost couldn't like wrap your hand around it and hold on to it, and it did not overheat and shut off. So now I'm like, Mobius, let's go. This is my new favorite thing. Which is why I really think we should put the Mini on as the backup plan for the Arcus and the Punisher. Put a few more holes in those rockets. It'll be fine. But yeah, so people ask me right now what they should do for onboard video. I always am going to recommend the Hero 4 session or a Hero 5 session if the rocket's going to be big enough that having a shroud that can house that thing's not going to be an issue. And you're not looking to spend a ton of money. The Hero 5 sessions are actually still quite expensive. I think people still pay like $150 for those, which is crazy. Yeah, it's insane.
I don't know that I paid that much for it new.
Yeah, mine was $149 new, I think, actually, with the like little accessory pack. I bought it right before a drift event. But you can find really good deals for the Hero 4 sessions. Like I said, there was one on eBay for $55 when I checked the other day. Or if you're willing to splurge a little bit more, the Mobius Maxi 4K is about $100. Shane, do you know how much the Mini is?
I don't.
Let's do a little check on that, because that might honestly be the play. For how nice the software interface is, and just how reliable they seem to be. Oh, it's $48.29. Wow. 1440p, so it shoots 2.7K if you want it to.
Yeah.
That's hard to argue with. That's a fantastic little recommendation there. So, now that we've talked about that, I want to talk about cameras that I want to fly on rockets. Shane, do you have any that you are curious about?
I mean, aside from, I haven't flown any Mobius cameras, nor do I have any, but I'm definitely, after reading about them, really, really interested, and especially after the heat test.
Yeah, I was blown away. We were taking bets and we both guessed that it recorded for like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Which in our minds, like over 7 is phenomenal because that's enough time to get back to the flight line and launch the rocket and hope that you don't stop recording until it's on its way down, right? But no, it hung out the entire time, and I forgot the SD card, so we don't know how well it does in flight. But one that I'm really interested in right now is the Insta360 Go, and it's the little like bean shaped one. They're really expensive. I think they're $270 for just the camera. If you buy the whole like snap-in action cam version, it's $400 or $320. It depends on what you're getting, I guess. But they have, I believe, integrated flash memory. But obviously the reason I want it, right, is because it's like GoPro quality footage and tiny. Like so tiny. We saw somebody with a 38 millimeter rocket at FAR this past weekend that had one in the electronics bay. It's so small and it looks really, really cool. So we're just patiently waiting for the day that Insta360 wants to sponsor the channel because for some reason I can put unlimited money into a rocket, right? Like my theoretical N1560 project is gambling like $3,000, but I'm like a $270 camera on a rocket. That's stupid. And then the other one that I want the Insta360 X4, which is the actual 360 degree camera because I want to use it in place of the tip of a nose cone. Just fly it on top of a rocket and have sort of the visible selfie stick thing going on, which I thought was a really cool, innovative idea until Joey B was over at our house the other day and told me that he had already done it. I was like, oh, just like my V2 paint job that I came up with all by myself.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need the comments starting about Braden's copying BBS
Face. Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's a whole thing. It'd be like the Hacker Garage days. What a throwback.
Yeah.
You guys got to say something here. The whole bonus episode can't be me rambling about cameras.
This is a topic I have no input on.
Well, you have to be somewhat interested, right? You have the Rocket channel now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm not. Onboard's low priority at the moment.
What would you consider high priority?
Posting a video.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it. Oh, well, there okay. It is. I laid the pitch up to myself on that one.
It's not high priority, but if it something were to be, I would strive for that. How about that?
Are you going to post the NoseCone video before Airfest? Because you told everybody you would.
Well, I got to finish the nose cone still. It's been a labor of love.
That's a good point. I guess
there's been some issues behind the scenes that I've been working out.
Oh, is it going to be done before we get there, or are we going to have to help you finish it?
No, it'll be done this weekend.
Do you imagine? He's like, all right, now we just got to paint the nose cone, finish sanding it, and we'll be ready to go. Like, Taylor, we're leaving tomorrow morning.
Come on, it's like usual. Just work. Can't you just work on it?
just hanging out with the guys. A really tight schedule. Yeah. Like sanding for 10 hours the day before we drove to LDRS. That was so fun.
All we have to do is sand it, fill it, and then paint it, and we're good.
Dude, okay, I'm on my second coat of West 410, and it is like perfect.
Yeah, dude, I love that stuff so much. I'm glad you put me onto that because, man, what a godsend.
It sands so well.
It does. But, all right. I think I've pretty much touched on all the cameras and stuff that I want to fly and what I do recommend for people to fly if you're looking to get into it. But I did ask on Patreon what people's experiences are. And then we are live. It's the live bonus episode. We have 29 people watching right now. And we're going to pop into the comments after this. The live ones anyway. So if you're watching this live, tell us all about what you do for onboard videos, and we will get to you shortly. We need some holding music. Let me pull up the Patreon.
Sad because his LA 50 flight was the worst. Now Rocket's tracker is deader than the 9 volts that were on board. And after getting fresh closures and loaning them out, sorry Taylor, here's your reward.
People loved this track, dude.
Goodbye 3840.
I mean, it's a really sad story.
We enjoyed you so shortly.
All right,
I think everyone can connect with it, you know?
Yeah.
We've watched 75s before.
And Taylor's
We've all been
with
there.
A frown and some wonder if he'll ever see a 3840 again.
Okay. I had to let the chorus finish playing out. I had the post up already, but it's fine. Joshua Smith says, I've always wanted a camera where the lens is separate from the camera body, attached presumably with a ribbon, or a camera that is easily modded for that setup. Put the body in the body tube and shroud the lens assembly on the side. One of the run cams has that setup, but I think it's POV only, no onboard storage. Yeah, I remember the run cam split, I believe is what it was called. And then there's the Hero Bones, but I don't think that's separate. It's just like very like optimized for being small and light.
Yeah, they just kind of like cut out some holes in the body and shrunk everything down a little bit on that.
Right. I know, I'm pretty sure Joe has done that with GoPros though, taken the lens out and modified it. But there's so many small cameras that I'm just like, I feel like it's diminishing returns on how much smaller you can make the shroud if you're still going to have the camera hanging out the side of the rocket, you know? Because no matter what, you're going to affect the aerodynamics, which is why, sorry to say everybody, but my N1560 project will not have a camera on board because we're never going to get that motor again. So we're going all the way. Noah Lenahan says, I've had good results with the GoPro Hero 4 session. There it is, dude. I will say, too, the Hero 4 Black is like a staple of the GoPro fanboy world. Everybody, it's like people really agree that the Hero 4 Black is kind of where GoPro peaked. This is before they became waterproof and really had issues with overheating, but they could still shoot 4K. I think they did 1080 120 as well. I bought one of those things new old stock for $100 on eBay once. It was still in the original package and had never been turned on before. It was crazy. The date was like 2016 or something like that when I turned it on. Isn't it a big thing in the rally world too, Taylor?
Yeah, that everyone uses them. Hero 4s. They're just reliable, and they accept the intercom signal properly without freaking out.
Yeah, that it is worth noting too that like eBay is a good resource if you want to go the GoPro route, but definitely like check pawn shops and stuff. The Hero sessions pop up in them a lot. They get a little out of pocket with the pricing sometimes, but like it's a pawn shop. You can be like, I'll give you $50, and they say no, and you go, okay, I'll buy one on eBay for $50. See you later. Ernesto says, will you please cover the issues of video cameras on Rocket going past Mach? I replied that I'm not really familiar with any issues other than it's going fast, so make sure it's secured to the rocket properly.
Yeah.
But we had a keychain camera taped on the side of my dad's level 2, which was a 3-grain 75L on a 4-inch rocket. It was a soft L, and it's a pretty long rocket, but it had to be near Mach 1 if it didn't surpass it. And it was all good.
But your dad's level 3 rocket, it was not so good.
Oh, yeah.
That is true. Yeah, it came off. Somebody found the camera, and the SD card was not in it.
I still can't believe that.
That's so crazy. But I could see like if you bounce it hard enough that the SD card would just pop out of one of those things. But now he tapes the SD card slot when he uses it. I don't know that he did onboard video on his last flight of that rocket, though. He took it to a Tripoli, Idaho launch not too long ago. Would have been cool because he did K560. Would have been kind of a nice, like, slow climb for that thing. But yeah, I don't really. So if you're in the live chat and you have any input as to what might become an issue other than ripping the camera off the side of the rocket when you're going supersonic, let us know. Zach Twig says, personally, my favorite is 4K Runcam Split for its size and ease of use. However, I have also built a few that house a GoPro Session 5, which is pretty nice for its stability. Yeah. Oh, the Hero 5 Session has, what do they call it? Hyper Smooth.
Oh.
It has like crop stabilization like all modern GoPros have. It's not as like mind-blowingly good as the current ones, but it is really nice. So if you get a little bit of rocket wiggle going, it's super nice to have it auto-stabilized, but that can be remedied pretty well by just having a secure mounting point. Which you can get help from Shane at hprtools.com. But, okay, let's see. Rob Doherty, I can't remember how we've talked about this before. I'm still fairly new, but we flew the SS Universal Astrocam on our Lock 4s for our level 1. I would suggest putting some tape on it if using the mount that comes with it for high power. We almost lost the camera at ejection. I've actually been curious about those. I wonder how good the footage is. The Universal Astrocam.
My grandpa had the very first Estes video rocket. Do you remember that? The Oracle.
Oh yeah, with the red
was
nose
so
cone?
bad. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It looked kind of cool though.
It wasn't like a glitter wrap. I think I had that too when I was little.
I think so. It was like red and black and silver, maybe.
Yeah, I think I had one of those. Oh yeah, I never got any onboard video. I had the same luck with those as my ARV Condor, but after growing up watching Vern's onboard videos, I was like, wow, I need to do this for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the live chat, now is your time. Let's see what people have been saying. Joe Stevenson says, there you guys are. Yeah, sorry for the late arrival. That's on me. That's my bad. But really, it's on Riverside. I'm blaming Riverside. GarageMan Cave says, got me an 808 number 16. Also have a Hero Session 4 and a Hero 10 Black. All good cameras. The Hero 10 Black is kind of a crazy deal right now because you can find them for right around $100 used. But they have the hyper smooth. They like if you watch any of my car videos where like there's a bunch of pan shots and like super smooth cinematic looking stuff, it's all a GoPro on a stick. I'm like any of the Sun Valley Tour de Force stuff, there was no gimbal there. So they are unbelievably smooth and nice, and they shoot 4K at 120 frames per second and 1080 at 240 frames per second, which is crazy. I have a really cool video of my dad's rocket on an LA50 with the nice slow ignition, and he got his 3840 back. He had new batteries in there. John Jameson says, I was a Cinerock flyer years ago. There's a throwback, dude. The Cinerock. Mobius now makes the 808 number 32S. Great video, 1080p at 60 FPS. Oh, interesting. Zero G Prince says, I have the 808 number 32S as well. Well, see, that could be a great little bit of insight. Wait, who said that? Was that? Yeah, Air Command Rockets. That channel's sick. They make water rockets. Like hardcore
I've seen
two-stage ones with electronic deployment and stuff. It's insane.
Yeah.
808 number 32. Let's see how much these guys are. Looks like about $50. And again, coming from China. Looks like there are some US source vendors though, actually. Here's one for 35 even. Also from China. It's gonna take a bit, but kind of worth it. Stephen B says, I've used these, decent video, audio, and flat. All the switches are soft, so it's a piece. I think there's some missing information there. Doesn't say what camera he's used. If you wait till the last minute, it only takes a minute. I don't know what that's in reference to, Robert Benton, but
I
thanks.
think that came in when we were talking about Taylor finishing the nose cone.
Oh, I see. Run cam split is nice for small size and can sit on the pad for a while. Not start recording until you send it an RC signal. Also outputs analog FPV. That's actually interesting.
Oh.
You'd still just be cooking the battery though, right? I mean,
yeah.
I feel like it's less likely that you overheat a camera if it's not recording, but I don't think it's impossible still. I'm not really sure where to stand on that. There's a sensor extension cable. Oh, you can do that with the 808. Dang. The Runcam split is really hit or miss in my experience. The Runcam 2/6 are much more stable and reliable. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier with the battery issue with the Runcam 2 is what really turned me off to it, and the fact that it overheats. What are the different ways that people attach the camera? Yeah, I mean, the 808 stuff, straight up just electrical tape. We did that for a really long time. You can go back on my channel. There's a couple really old videos from, I don't know, probably 2009. My dad and I flying some Cosden G motors with a 808 keychain cam taped to the side. But the way I do it basically, I think the layout or the shroud that I have is what Shane's going to be selling on HPR Tools, but it's a very similar shroud to the ones like Additive sells, but it uses a single 1/4-20 bolt to hold everything together. Just put one hole in the rocket, you reach in there from the backside, tighten it, and you call it a day. But it really is only functional on big rockets that you can reach inside.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't really have much else for you. Additive Aerospace does make nice shrouds for a few different cameras. I think they make one for the Mobius, right?
I think so, yeah.
Do they make one for the Mini too?
I'm not sure. I know they have the Maxi, the 4K one. I'm not certain that they have the Mini.
Electrical tape to the side of my rocket. Ran it on my level 2 and level 3. There you go. Avoid the Hero 9. They overheat really easily. 6, 7, and 10 are the best in the respective generations, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know that I had a 9. I had an 8, and it almost never overheated on me. 10 and 11, I've had a couple of each, and they've all had their fair share of overheating moments, which is a blast every single time. Will HBR Tools be at Airfest? Yes, actually, that's a good point. If somebody wants something, they should reach out to you.
Yeah, I have had someone do that already, so I do need to remember to bring that to Airfest.
Okay. You might want to just like bring some stuff, like just some kind of generic things to have on hand just in case somebody wants anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know how far you're allowed to go with that without technically being a vendor.
Yep.
Ask Amy.
Yeah. I'm not really trying to get on the bad side of everyone that runs Cloudbusters.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that.
No.
Cinerock was S a Super 8 movie film. Yep. How would you mount a Hero Black? Isn't the lens in the worst possible face aerodynamically a mirror? I mean, really, no camera is great in its lens placement for being on the side of a rocket. Here's a Hero 11 Black. It takes like this. Here's my hands, the side of the rocket. Boom. There you go. I have flown cameras like this before, just like a normal GoPro mount on the side of the rocket. But again, big stuff. It was on my 8-inch V2. For something like this, is kind of the only option is a big rocket. But we talked about the Hero 4 Session earlier, which is the main reason I like it is you get the GoPro quality with a much smaller footprint. Not that much smaller, like in terms of overall height, but it is a little bit less cumbersome. What 3D printers do you use for HPR tools? Creality K1 Max. Okay. I think that's pretty much all we've got. But Taylor, I'm curious now that you said it, and this is the bonus episode after all. Tell us about what ails you with the nose cone process.
Nothing. It's going great. No, it's really like the same problems we had the first time on the first nose cone. It's just you know how the all thread was a little wobbly when we were turning it in the jig, and it kind of ate the inside of the foam. I don't know if you remember that part, but it kind of left it a little wiggly. Well, it like Matt. So since it was just me and Matt, like Matt's running the drill, and his drill control was no good. So it ended up really ate out around but there was less rod sticking up past the tube, so it wasn't as big of a deal. But I didn't want to just leave it because I wanted it to be super strong. So last night I poured 3 pumps of West Systems down in the cavity, and it just ate it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to stop because I don't want it to flash cure down there and eat away all the foam. So I just let it cure. And then this morning I put some Gorilla Glue in there, and then that pretty much took care of it.
All right, well, that's good. At least it's being remedied.
Now I'm gonna form the tip, which I know how to do that with the epoxy clay, and then paint it. And this time I'm going to do the base coat with the white, not like what me and Postart did, which was put the red straight on the primer, and it looked a little different than the rest of the rocket.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, I've had to learn that lesson before. We've got a couple new comments. Air Command Rocket says, recommend configuring the camera to record a series of shorter clips like 2 to 3 minutes. That way, at least some video is likely to be stored if the rocket crashes. I actually didn't think about that. That's a good call because that's kind of how the Maxi defaulted. It was recording loops of 3 minutes, and I was like, well, this is annoying. But that's not a bad call.
Yeah.
Plus, that way, if it overheats, well, when it overheats, it still records until it overheats. But I haven't had that issue with that thing, knock on wood. How many K1 Maxes asked Zero G Prince? At the moment, just one. David Billy asks, how big is Airfest compared to Cloudburst? I'm thinking about making the trip out the week before classes start. Like, way, way bigger. Airfest is routinely as big or bigger than LDRS.
And I don't know if there's another launch that can rival the
constant barrage of big motors and cool projects.
Yeah. Like just where you almost become numb to it.
If you're thinking about making the trip and it's halfway justified, just go ahead and fully justify it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, you see like 100 M motors.
Yeah. There's how many like O impulse projects are there?
A lot.
All right. And wasn't there 300 pre-registered flyers?
Just under, I think.
That's so
200
crazy.
something. Yeah.
That's wild.
That orientation seems brutal. The 4-sesh I get. Yeah, like I said, the big GoPros are really only appropriate on big rockets. Like if we made a giant camera shroud for this on the side of the 12-inch Punisher, we're not losing a lot. But yeah, it makes a lot more sense for the GoPro to go inside of a rocket. And then actually Vern Noel's website, vernk.net, there's a really good demonstration of him making a camera shroud out of Kevlar and fiberglass and then putting a mirror inside it. So the camera is pointed straight out the side of the rocket. And then you have a hood that has the mirror inside to give you the downward angle, which is a lot more aerodynamically efficient. But again, that's so big because he had a camcorder inside the rocket that was like the lesser of two evils. You could almost just make a shroud that size and put a full-size GoPro in it. But if I was going to buy a brand new GoPro right now with the intention of putting it on the side of rockets, I'd get the Hero 11 Black Mini or 12 Black Mini. I don't know if they've made a 12 yet, but it's a little bit bigger than the Hero 4 and Hero 5 Session. But I've also heard that they're phenomenal at overheating. So even more so than a regular Hero 11 Black. Students fly for free at Airfest, says Rocket Chick. Hi, Amy. 230 pre-registered. That's so crazy. I've got sleds for GoPro sessions to go inside 54mm rockets. Yeah, that's a good call. I actually have a question for the chat and everybody in this little discussion here. What is your preference for onboard video? Facing down or facing out the side?
It changes with altitude for me. Like, if it's going to be to a point where you're going to start to see, like, the darkened sky where it's black, then I want it facing out. So, like, 40,000 feet and up, I want it out. But aside from that, down is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the effect of, like, the rapid acceleration you get from the downward facing camera. But when I told Eric when we started designing this N1000 project, I was like, there's no way we can put it on the side without drastically affecting the aerodynamics. He's like, oh, I don't even like it when it faces down. I was like, interesting. I never thought that people would prefer it out the side, because that's always been like my big gripe with, like, I don't want to say gripe with, like, Kip's video, because Kip's video is phenomenal, but a really good example of the opposite is Jeff Taylor, the original Loki founder. He flew a rocket called Proteus 6.5, and he had the camera facing down, so you get to watch the sticker melt off the side of the rocket, and you're just watching the ground get further and further away. And then there's just like this glorious cinematic moment where it tilts over, and all of a sudden you just see black sky and the atmosphere. I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen, ever. I used to show that video to everybody that was like, whoa, what kind of rocks do you do? I'm like, here's one that I built, but here's like a really cool one. Down, up, and side. Yeah, I still really want to do an up-facing camera for the deployment of the C9 almost exclusively, just so we can watch it.
Be so good.
Like overkill. Robert Benton says down. The Rocket Child says down. Rocket Chick says down. Facing mostly down with the horizon at the top of the frame, says Air Command Rockets. Why choose one if you could have both? That's not the option. I like facing out, however, down is nice for watching deployment. Yeah, that's a good point. At the bottom of the rocket, facing up or top facing down looks cool to get the deployment. Both is good too. Where can I find that vid? If you just type in Proteus 6.5 rocket on YouTube, it should pop up. I think it's on Jeff Taylor's Facebook page. That is his name, right? Jeff Taylor?
Yeah, I think so.
I was saying, I feel like now that I've said it, I'm like, wait, that seems wrong to me. Yeah, I had a plan for a while to just tape a run cam to the shock cord right below the deployment bag for the C9 and put it inside the rocket before we launched it. Remember when I was talking about doing that?
Yeah.
Just so we'd have footage on the shock cord. Be so sick just watching that thing.
You were really on that one for a while.
Talking to the mic, Taylor.
Sorry. I'm like
all
half
right.
here.
Yeah, I know. Put one facing up the Arcus so we can see the dual main deployment. Oh, that's a good point too.
That's true.
I actually came up with a great solution for it still being aerodynamic for you to do that too. Put it under an RC plane clear canopy. Like 3D print.
That's a good idea.
Little skeleton that goes inside it, and you bolt it all to the rocket, and then you just have a clear canopy. Yeah, that would be super cool. We can probably figure that out.
Yeah.
Or we can just not use the audio and have it facing straight up. It doesn't really matter that much, but it's just going to be a really flat, draggy spot. Or like it would take off and just catch like a bug and just block out the footage for the rest of it. Like, well, good news, we got footage this time, but
of this dead bug.
Yeah, so cool. Like the picture Shane got of the Arcus taking off, there's birds in the foreground.
Yeah.
Dude, Shane rented a gnarly big boy lens so he can get crazy cool pictures.
Damn.
We're getting good shots of the Punisher and the Arcus.
rocketrypicks.com after Airfest and buy some stuff to justify that rental.
Yeah, it cost way more than I expected.
I thought it would be cool to inside the tube on the bulk plate facing up. Mounting a cam downward, are you mounting to the fin can or a payload? Most of my rockets don't have a payload, so usually I try and keep it relatively close to the fins, but like with the fins still in view. All right. Well, this is the live episode. We got about 10 more minutes left of time to fill here, so I'm going to say just if you're in the live chat, throw us some stuff. Any questions? They don't necessarily have to be camera related. And if you have any further questions, send them in an email to contact@aggpodcast.com. We do have our 50th episode coming up, guys, which is crazy. 50 of these. I really think we should do the telethon, dude.
Oh, yeah.
We should just do a super long format. We'll just come up with a bunch of different segments, and we'll do like an 8-hour podcast.
Oh, my.
Then we can all take a nap.
Yeah.
But I am curious
to host an hour.
Yeah. I still think you should do the video of Nigel building a rocket.
That would be good.
We should also, if you have any suggestions for what we should do for the 50th episode, send them to contact@aggpodcast.com. Or if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Odyssey or anywhere else, if you go in the description, it says send us a text. Just tap on that, and you can send a message directly to us. I'm really going to try hard to still watch all of your flights and still fly all of mine. Too much work. Yeah, you're telling me, man. I got to try and film everything and also fly 2 giant rockets and my own rocket. How was your NORAM experience? There wasn't one. None of us went. On the bottom and top of the fin facing down toward the nozzle. Yes. What flights are you most excited for other than your stuff? I don't know. I don't really know a lot of stuff that's coming. Taylor, what are you excited for? Oh, dude, actually, I'm excited for Fred Taverni's M to M to M 3-stage.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be crazy.
And his 6-stage.
Light.
Yeah, and the 6-stage. I can never film the 6-stage right, though. I got it like good the first time, and I set the expectations way too high. So now every time he's like, "Did you get it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kind of. Not probably as good as you're hoping." Let's see. I asked Shane about photographs, but how do you guys handle video for Patreon friends? If you're a Patreon member, just send me your rocket flight, what you're looking to get. Specifically, if it's already in a video, give me a timestamp and a link to said video, and I'll just upload it to Google Drive, and you can download it when people pay for it or they're on the Patreon. It's like a full commercial license. You can put it on Facebook, YouTube, wherever. If you make money with it, I don't care. It's your video. Just get the new Starlink Mini and live stream the whole thing. I think I might live stream a good amount of Rockstock this year because out at Lucerne there actually is really good service. But yeah, I've thought about it, the Starlink thing.
We just talked about this too.
Yeah, it'd be really great for balls because we're gonna have RVs. But
yeah,
that's a pricey one. You could have guests for some hours. Yeah, we were talking about that. Joe, I don't want to spoil too much, but he has a really cool video coming out, and I asked him if he wants to do an episode with us afterwards so we can all argue about the topic. It's going to be good. What is the best way to bribe you guys? Do I understand it is a soft drink? Yeah, Diet Dr. Pepper, but also maybe just like Rain energy drinks and like water would be great. Big fan of Liquid Death sparkling water, the unflavored one. It's nice to be hydrated, but like a little bougie, you know? Hydrates like water, but goes down like soda. Top 5 of your own rockets for the 50th episode. That could be part of it. Any chance of doing the 50th episode live from Airfest? Not a single sliver of a chance. Especially because we won't be at 50 by next week, but we're going to have a lot going on. I was looking at the Starlink Mini. Those are cool. Yeah, it is kind of a great solution. Like when I did the live stream for Evolution Space and we couldn't get any halfway decent signal out at far. So it was live streamed in like 360p.
Oh.
The Starlink Mini is like $50 a month pay as you go. Listen, I've said it before and I will continue saying it. I don't think people understand the disproportion of how much money this YouTube channel brings in versus how much I spend on making the stuff that's on it. It is tragic. Adding another $50 revolving payment isn't really on the table right now. Right, Taylor?
Yeah, for sure.
Postart did that to me the other day. He said something and I just nodded. He's like, I knew it. I knew you weren't listening.
Yeah. I said something at first and then just made something up just to see if he really wasn't
doing.
I don't either, but he just nodded. I was like, I see you.
All right, guys, last call for questions, and then we are going to see our way out of here. Taylor, are you flying anything else at Airfest? Plus the $5.99 hardware cost. Yeah, there you go. We're out. We're clean out.
Am I flying anything else?
Yeah.
Probably some Punishers. I don't know. If I can get my S together and fix my 4-inch Punisher, I might put an M1315 in it.
Oh, yeah, you have an M1315. Dang, yeah. I do too. But I don't have
Me
a 4-inch Punisher
For some reason,
anymore.
I want to save it, but I don't really have a better rocket. Like, I have no better purpose for it than that at the moment.
I've really been contemplating sanding down my minimum diameter rocket and flying it in that. But I also kind of want to save it and fly it in either the Armageddon or the Horizon because it's from 1999.
Part of me is like, I should wait in once I build the big Nike, my 7.5-inch Nike Smoke, I should put that. It just feels like such a classic motor.
You're going to put an adapter in that thing?
Motor, but
you sissy.
Well, that's why I got the M2400.
Oh, yeah. Dang, that's going to be cool. It's just upscale of your K1100 5.5-inch Nike Smoke flights. Okay, David Billius says, actually, that reminds me, do you have any experience using a mini vehicle GPS tracker to track really high projects for recovery as a last resort? No, I've never done any of that sort of stuff. I know people use like dog trackers and stuff. I also have heard that that's against the law. The FAA doesn't like that. You guys flying any G motors at Airfest? No, actually. Braden, how goes the job hunt? Did you already find something? Yeah, I've been full-time employed since February with Great Western Buildings. Shout out. Eric's actually not here this time. It's a rare miss.
Yeah.
Do you all have a Discord channel? There is a Discord, but it's for Rocket Vlogs patrons. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it because we can't go over on our allotted time with our bonus episodes. But, yeah, my name is Braden Carlson. You can find me right here on YouTube at Rocket Vlogs. You can follow me on Instagram at BigB1011 and Snapchat, also BigB1011, and on TikTok at Braden Carlson6.
My name is Taylor, and you can check me out on the Rocket channel on YouTube.
My name is Shane or Postart. You can find me on YouTube at Postart Propulsions, on Instagram at Shane Harris Photo, and online at hprtools.com.
We are the Anti-Gravity Group. This is the Anti-Gravity Group podcast, and we will see you all next time.
We might just hear from night launch, and a chat with them is guaranteed to be a blast. It's the Anti-Gravity Group Podcast.